Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. I am French Shy Pearson, French Shy Blue. Praise God for whom all blessings flow. We thank you again, Lord, for another day. We should always say thank you. Thank you for your Holy Spirit. And hey, thank you for Jesus. Such a beautiful work. The more and more I think about it, the more I believe that we should all just take a moment every day and say thank you. And Lord, as we blaze this trail another day, send your angels because we're waiting on that call. Protect us, and guide us, and mold us, and shape us. Make us more like you so we can hear from you. Well, people, we've been hearing from our fearless leader ever since the war began in Iran. Yes. If it's not Pete Hegseth, Department of War leader, it's Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, or Donald Trump. Someone is telling us the benefit and selling to us the benefit of the WAR. Well, now the reports are out that we are going to be sending servicemen and women to that region. And like you, I've been scouring the media trying to find out just how long it would take. And I can't really wrap my mind around it. Some believe that Trump could send troops from other areas where we have troops already. And then some say it might take 2 weeks. But I'm puzzled, and let me know how you feel, because, man, today's what, Friday? I was hearing Monday and Tuesday and maybe Wednesday, oh, we're going to be home very soon. Trump was like, hey, the war won't be too long. Okay, well, let's just say for the sake of argument, he's sending those troops out there for preventive measures. Like, hey, I mean business, I'm going to show you before I can tell you. We've already negotiated on paper, it didn't work, it broke down, wink and a smile. But people, there is a remote possibility that we will put boots on the ground, that they just won't be there. That our sons and daughters will pierce in this war, and that's what they do. I get it, but I'm trying to find if what I'm seeing and feeling a silver lining, that we could halt it and have a world order call from the UN and other leaders around the world to say, hey, we got to stop. It's enough. I mean, think about, this is what I do every day. And I'm seeing in the headlines, I don't know what adjective they might use on a daily basis. We're plummeting them. We're hitting them hard. We're going to hit them harder than yesterday. Oh, today is going to be the biggest bombing than ever. That's what I've been seeing. It's like every day is, you got to say, I'm going to outdo the last day. Is it just hype? Then I'm also hearing from the foreign news that we done lost over 100 and something folks. I don't know what to believe. What I do see, the video I came out with about a week and a half ago, the money aspect, that there's a lot of money being spent on this war. A lot of money. And money we really can't afford. But Pearson, there's a cost if you don't spend the money, because we could be hurt and hit here in America. I didn't totally believe that sale. What I believed in is protecting the border, Mr. Biden, and prevention and great negotiation with good faith, and maybe staying out of other folks' business. I want you to be honest today and ask yourself, is this more about Israel's war than us? Because I'm gonna let you hear somebody else's spin on this thing. Is it more about Israel's war than our war? Well, Pearson, that's obvious. Really? Look. I told you I believe the goal is the one world system. And I do believe that Britain is in part going to benefit gradually, and then eventually we're going to merge. And they're going to be smiling like Eddie Murphy. So is it Israel's war? Or is it the powers' war? Or is it America's war? Whose war is it? And at the end, who pays the price beyond the dinero? But first, I want to let you hear, and you tell me from this clip I'm going to play for you. President Trump, they say goggles, I don't like that word, gaggles, with press at Joint Base Andrews today. He said something, and the way he said it, it made me think. Let me give you a little hint. He said, because I put this in a geometric calculator, he said, well, I think your gas prices, as soon as that's over, are going to come tumbling down along with everything else. Okay? It was the way he said it. Or maybe it's just me. Because I'm thinking crash. I'm thinking 1929 crash. I don't want to keep you in suspense any longer. Friday the 13th is enough, right? Check it out.
What's your message to voters who may be concerned about the potential for rising gas prices?
Well, I think your gas prices, as soon as that's over, are going to come tumbling down along with everything else. I think it's going to be, you're going to see a very big decrease in the price of gasoline, gas, anything having to do with energy, as soon as this is ended. But
Now, what I did, I had slowed down the speed on purpose. That's why it sounded kind of like slow. But here we go again.
advertise their own country in the Middle East, but it's been very, very strong militarily.
President, what's your message to voters who may be concerned about the potential for rising gas prices?
Well, I think your gas prices, as soon as that's over, are going to come tumbling down along with everything else. I think it's going to be, you're going to see a very big decrease in the price of gasoline.
I don't really want to read into it. I just got to be honest. I don't trust him. So maybe that's why I'm feeling something else. I will put this video in the description and you can listen to it. You can start it at the 20-second mark. This will come tumbling down along with everything else. That's a scary statement. But I'm gonna pause for the cause. Let's play this clip here. U.S. sends more Marines to the Middle East, okay? Let's start off with this.
We're learning more from U.S. officials about the trajectory of the conflict. Today we heard from Secretary Hegseth and General Kane speaking to the media, answering questions about Iran's new supreme leader, as well as their perceived progress in the fight and where things go from here. The U.S., we're learning now, is sending 2,500 Marines and at least one more ship to the Middle East, marking a major addition of troops for the region. Standing by is retired Marine intelligence officer, host of the Strap podcast, and national security analyst, Hal Kemper. Hal, ultimately, one thing I wanted to bring up with you here is what I'm reading is the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit and an amphibious assault ship that are heading to the Middle East together. As soon as I heard about this, I texted you and I was asking you, what is the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit? What kind of manpower does something like this bring to the region?
Well, Austin, what it is it's a Marine Air Ground Task Force. It's specially set up. It's built around a infantry battalion as its ground combat element. It has a composite air squadron with a number of aircraft. Of course, one of the biggest components are the tilt rotor V-22 Ospreys. That is a standard troop carrier that we have with that, but it has other aircraft as well. And then it has a logistics element, what we call combat service support element. And then there's a command element that's commanded by a 06 colonel. And it's a very capable thing. They're all rated special operations capable. They can do a lot of different things. They can obviously go in and do regular warfare, but they also have special training to do things like amphibious raids and various other things that could be very important with what's coming up in the Persian Gulf. If we were to decide to, say, do a raid on a small island, or maybe even take a small island, and there's a number of small islands in the Strait of Hormuz, or do something at some other location, but obviously reducing a lot of those anti-ship capabilities in and around the strait is a big issue, and this gives us a lot of punch in that regard.
Could an expeditionary unit be a precursor to some sort of larger ground operation?
Potentially. I have to tell you, the MU is set up to be, it's set up in such a way that operates as its own command. Now, I used to be a principal staff officer.
Okay, so that's a key part from him. Now, I want to step back. Why did we hit first? Whether it was June 22nd or February 28th, why did we hit first? Marco Rubio.
If we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
Now, do you believe that? Whether it's the colonel, whether it's Rubio, whether it's Hegseth, whether it's Trump, do you believe that? Now, I want you to listen to a reaction. I found this channel by accident today. It's called The Diary of a CEO Clips. The real reason U.S. troops are going to Iran. This definitely I will put in the description. This guy here, White House War Advisor Robert Papey, reveals why President Trump is now trapped in an escalation cycle in Iran with no good way out. Drawing on 20 years of White House War Advisor Robert Page reveals why, I already read that again, was war simulations and 3 decades advising advising every White House since 9/11. So this guy's been out here. This guy, it's just interesting comments. I can only play a minute of people's broadcast, but check this out here. He's responding to what Marco Rubio just said about why we hit first, but check it out.
So what that shows you is that it's the tail wagging the dog, that Israel is going to attack. Just happened in June. So it's a replay of what happened in June. Israel may well have, we don't know why Israel decided to attack and kill the supreme leader. It was actually Israeli bombs who killed the supreme leader, and also those other replacement leaders as well. But Israel may well have been thinking that, my goodness, Trump is getting too close to a deal. That's what happened in June. Trump was on the edge of a deal with Iran, and then Israel goes and kills the negotiators, you see. So just think about that for a moment. Trump is negotiating with the Iranians, And then they say, well, okay, come back the next day, and what is there the next day? Israeli bombs killing them.
So I mean, that's not a great way to handle a partnership.
Well, it's just showing you we had another choice. We could have told Israel not to do it. We could have told Israel, if you do this, we're going to cut off all your military aid for the next 3 years. That would put some pressure on Israel. Now, then Trump would have to pay a price politically. So I'm not saying that's an easy thing to do.
Should I play this again? This is something to think about. Before the war, before the hit, during the first hit, is Israel not tamed? Is Israel running us? Because Trump did have options. What I don't like is that Trump didn't go to Congress. Because then these types of arguments, quote unquote, discussions, if you will, could have been had. Seasoned people know what to look for. You understand? Trump is a businessman. He's not an army man. There's a difference. Guerrilla warfare, boots on the ground, airplanes, jets, bombs, different from backroom deals. Well, Pearson, what are you saying? He's the commander-in-chief. He's out of his league. That's what I'm saying. He never even ran for office, never was an alderman, a congressman, a senator. I want you to know what you're looking at. Somebody's about to send these troops out here. Well, he's getting the advice. But who's running who? That's my question. Who's running who? We have a body of Congress, senators, legislators, families. I believe we're infiltrated. This makes no sense. The whole way that they went about doing this thing stinks to high heaven. If this man is right, let's play it again. Let's play it again. I'm glad I found it.
Launch those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
So what that shows you is that it's the tail wagging the dog, that Israel is going to attack, as I'm saying, just happened in June. It's a replay of what happened in June. Israel may well have, we don't know why Israel decided to attack and kill the supreme leader. It was actually Israeli bombs who killed the supreme leader, and also those other replacement leaders as well. But Israel may well have been thinking that, my goodness, Trump is getting too close to a deal. That's what happened in June. Trump was on the edge of a deal with Iran, and then Israel goes and kills the negotiators, you see. So just think about that for a moment. Trump is negotiating with the Iranians, and then they say, well, okay, come back the next day, and what is there the next day? Israeli bombs killing them.
So I mean, that's not a great way to handle a partnership.
Well, it's just showing you another choice. We could have told Israel not to do it. We could have told Israel, if you do this.
And why didn't he? Why didn't he tell Israel, I got this? Weisskopf and Kushner going from sea to shining sea, from one war to another. You know what I'm talking about. And allegedly on the brink of getting it from one stage to another where we can have a resolve. And Israel drops a bomb and exacerbates the situation. Now we in it. Could this have been prevented? I just want to know. Now, let's listen to the news media, because somebody in Iran said, hey, if you do put the boots on the ground, I'm waiting on you.
For telling American reporters that the regime is ready for a possible U.S. ground invasion.
Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You were waiting for the U.S. military to invade the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
And
Did you see the confidence in his face?
if you had any doubt that Iran was in a rational state, you just confirmed that. The Iranian foreign minister telling American reporters that the regime is ready for a possible U.S. ground invasion.
Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You were waiting for the U.S. military to invade the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
And that would be a big disaster for us. He just, is he confident because he knows his region, which I'm sure he does. He knows the capability of his people, which I'm sure he does. Is there a lure being set and a trap? We don't know. But let me tell you something about going into somebody else's house. And you think you prepared and they've had enough time because you've been running your mouth for a few months. You don't know what the hell you walking up into. That's all I'm going to say. Now, here's another comment in relation to that. Listen very carefully.
Ground invasion of Iran, is that something that you think is possible, and what might that look like?
This would be the mother of all fool's errands if the United States elected to send ground troops in. I mean, look at the reality. This is not Syria, it's not Libya, and it's certainly not Saddam Hussein's Iraq. This is really the first modern nation that the United States has gone to war against in terms of its capacity and its state institutions since World War II or Korea. And what we would see if the United States did try to launch an invasion is they'd put together a ragtag bunch of thousands of Kurds. That seems to be the plan that they've been putting on the table. There is no organized armed Iranian outside militia to speak of. They presumably would be assuming they would get mass defections, and I think they are dramatically underestimating what the IRGC is, and also the fabric of Iranian society. See, when you start to believe your own delusions, when you start to imply that every single Iranian is a prisoner to a dictatorship of a mullah, the rhetoric that these guys use at the Pentagon and at the White House on down, and you start to believe, get high on your own supply, then you start to say, oh, well, if we come in with ground troops and Netanyahu's telling us that the people are going to rise up, you end up on a utter catastrophe where it's not just a quagmire, but you're going to have masses of American soldiers coming home in body bags. I followed the reporting on Zateo on this. I know it's a real discussion that's happening in this administration right now. And I just want to be clear, if the United States does contemplate putting ground troops in, I think it's going to be an utter bloodbath, and I think that there's a reason.
The report I heard was 2,500. 2,500 divided by Trump's birthday. Trump is 79 years old. So look at this. 2,500 troops are going. I'm sure there's some more out there, but the report today is 2,500. Divide that by 0.79. Trump 79 years old. You get 316. John 3:16 of the Bible, New Testament, John 3:16 is about a sacrifice of our precious Lord and Savior. 3:16 is what I get. 3:16:45 to be accurate. People, let me know how you feel on all this. This don't feel good. I'm trusting the experts, and that's somebody who never really held an office and certainly never was in the military. You think about what I'm saying.